Curslings, that the repugnant Jenkins have earned themselves additional fines from the Oregon Humane Society. Now, as some of you will remember, a week or so ago, Stephanie Thompson made this Facebook post where she complained, "Videos like this trigger me so much lately. We miss our fur babies so much. We had no knowledge that we would end up in a motel where we could have kept at least 2 of our fur babies with us, or we would have done it in a heartbeat." As much as everyone wants to act like I was just rolling in funds, I couldn't even afford to get something as basic as what's shown in this video, like I really wanted to for them. More than half of my Amazon Save for Later, since some of y'all don't know, is cat related. And it's hard for me to just delete it off of our account because y'all just don't get how much they meant to us. That's why they threw boiling water at them, right? I wish more than anything that was the one thing I would have tried to keep to ourselves while we were moving. Just know this, the lady who has Milo is no hero. She's a thief, an awful human. My daughter asks about her cat all the time, and I know your bitter arse wouldn't even give her cat back if we asked, and that's proof right there why you did it. I may never get over the pain of losing conscious. That kitty got me through so many mental ups and downs before I was with Drew. She was my familiar, and I'll forever have a hole without her. I could give an F what trolls' opinions are on this matter, or really anyone who doesn't understand. I miss my cats! Oh boy, there's a lot to unpack here, which we'll get to in a second. Now, at the time of this post, I assumed, along with everyone else, that this was just more rage bait, because Stephanie often leans into rage bait to drive flagging engagement.
This post was a strategic post on my part.
However, Stephanie also tends to tell on herself a lot. A quality that I am quite thankful for as a content creator, because literally all I have to do is collect the pieces and assemble the larger picture as it unfolds. Or in this case, when hit dogs holler. As it seems that this post is likely in reaction to additional fines Stephanie has received from the Oregon Humane Society regarding her mistreatment of Milo. See, the other day, I happened to catch a live stream with Alicia May, Arlita, Shaylin, Morgan, King Petty, and others, right when we found out about Drew not showing up to court. In that live stream, it was revealed that Stephanie was being fined an additional $1,750 by OHS for animal neglect. Ouch!
Oh yeah, if y'all don't know, Stephanie's also getting an additional fine for Milo for $1,750. For those that are not aware, she will be receiving that citation anytime this week or next week.
Now, this was the first I'd heard of this, so I reached out to my source in Oregon, Sophie, to see if it was true, and no, it is. It is. This is absolutely has happened, whatever. According to Sophie, OHS was able to prove a case for animal neglect for Milo. Originally, they were trying to get a misdemeanor 1 by proving that it had been done in front of minors, but there was a concern, due to the age of the children, that it would be difficult to prove that they understood that what they had witnessed was neglect. Never mind that to establish this, OHS would need to interview the Jenkins kids, which in turn brought up concerns about re-traumatizing them. So, OHS decided to go for animal neglect as a misdemeanor 2, which is $1,750 in fines, and more importantly, at least in my opinion, a lifetime ban of adopting animals in the state of Oregon, which is huge news, because I'm not gonna lie, Curslings, hearing that Stephanie only got a slap on the wrist with 3 $100 citations and a 2-year ban was disheartening. Now, according to Morgan and Shaylin and the others on the livestream panel that I just happened to capture, supposedly the additional fines are because Stephanie decided to run her mouth. Shocker.
Oh, I got some hot tea for y'all speaking on
really?
that. So somebody that works at, I haven't said anything about this.
She came to my live, yeah,
I do have
that works
receipts.
for OHS.
Yeah, she messaged me and told me that she tried to get out of paying her fees.
How? Oh, really?
It's more than likely it's because Stephanie tried to claim that the cats she abandoned were strays, which we know isn't true, as we have social media proof that Stephanie had Milo since he was a kitten. He was literally a birthday present to Stephanie from Drew. So, apparently, Stephanie's public complaints about her citations and her conflicting stories about the cats that she absolutely abandoned earned her this additional fine. Good.
Probably claiming the cats were strays again.
Fucking dead. When there is abundance of proof that she claimed them, she can't use that. You know what, you guys? Hold on. You know what, you guys? I scrolled on his Facebook, and I went all the way back. He gave her that cat. He gave her Milo. They've had Milo since he was a kitten.
Yep. There's a video of her saying that he gave it to her as a gift.
Yep.
Well, and that's why everybody was so irritated when she was saying, like, I ran this by them and told them that they were strays. They weren't fucking strays, bro. Period.
Milo was a gift.
All on the internet.
And she wants to keep running her mouth, and that's why she's now getting an additional fine for $1,750. So an extra $1,700 on top of the
What
other
are
one.
you talking?
Which brings me back to Stephanie's May 7th Facebook tirade, because I want to draw your attention to this line where Stephanie wrote, "I wish more than anything that abandoning the cats was the one thing I would have tried to keep to ourselves while we were moving." I'm sorry, what's that, Stephanie? You wish you hadn't told the internet that you were abandoning your pets because now there are consequences? Oh no! Moo-hoo! Also notice how Stephanie doesn't say, "I regret abandoning my cats." It's just, I wish I had more money to dump them in comfort. And I wish people didn't know that I left them there to die. And then she wonders why people hate her so much.
You can hate on me for abandoning cats because I'm gonna freaking hate on myself for that for the rest of my life. I wish that I could have done something different. I wish to God that I would have had another avenue to take in that situation. I'm forever gonna miss those fucking cats. Like, when I break it down, I think most of y'all just hate on me for your own convenience. Because, you know, like, you can use, oh, Resilient Jenkins, this, that, and the third, and you're gonna get the attention that you're so seeking. But really, I've done nothing. I've done that crap. I'm a great freaking mom.
I also can't help but find myself reminded of this clip from March, where Stephanie explained that the reason she didn't show more of Milo was because she was afraid of being judged for the state of his skin and was worried about how that would reflect back onto her. Yeah.
I haven't blatantly showed the cat that had the skin issue in our videos for months now. I didn't want to deal with the backlash of everybody hating in the comments. We're already dealing with so much freaking hate. And I did what I could to try to help the cat. I changed the food. I got a water filter. Yeah, I could have taken him to the vet, but it was a lot of money out of pocket that I just didn't have on hand. I was doing the best I could to try to figure out what to do with the cats in the midst of all that. And I know you're just going to be like, excuses, excuses, excuses.
In both instances, nearly 2 months apart, Stephanie has demonstrated that she is only remorseful because people know about her neglect. Not that there is neglect, just that we know about it. Let that sink in. Then we get to this part. Just know this, the lady, Shaylin, who has Milo and Onyx, is no hero. She's a thief and an awful person. This Curslings is called projection. Shaylin didn't steal Milo. Milo was abandoned. Stephanie admitted to it, even going so far as to say that she'd pay whatever fines she got back in March. Shaylin had also said that she had to wait until after the deplorable jerkwads had moved out to legally be able to take Milo. So for Stephanie to accuse her of stealing an abandoned cat is next level delusional, especially when just a few weeks ago she was claiming that he was a stray and complaining about getting a citation for it.
I let her know, like, these are strays that we brought in and we took care of them to the best of our abilities. At this point, we just can't take them with us and we're letting them back out.
So which one is it? Is he a stray or was he stolen? Then Stephanie, shockingly, plays the victim card. My daughter asks about her cat all the time, and I know your bitter arse wouldn't give her cat back if we asked, and that's proof right there why you did it. This is emotional manipulation, by the way, which is super gross. Shaylin doesn't have to give Milo back. Full stop. Shaylin rescued a starving, neglected, abandoned cat. She crowdfunded for his vet bills. She rehabilitated Milo and Onyx. And legally, both cats now belong to her. They're registered in her name, they're chipped, the whole 9 yards. No responsible pet owner is going to surrender an animal that they rescued back to the person who neglected and abandoned that animal in the first place. They're just not going to do that. And the fact that Stephanie feels entitled, that is the sound of my cat, and the fact that Stephanie feels entitled to Milo, despite living in a motel/homeless shelter, tells you just about everything that you need to know about her, her priorities, and how she thinks about other living things. Their possessions to Stephanie Thompson. Never mind the fact that Stephanie is barred from owning pets for at least 2 years, if not forever. But of course, the raging narcissist is going to expect her pets back now that the internet and Shaylin have made sure that Milo got the treatment and care he needed. Now that he's all better, she wants her cat back. It's also telling that Stephanie is constantly attacking Shaylin's character, and her motivations. Personally, I don't give a flying F if Shaylin did this for clout or not. I don't. She did right by those cats, which is what matters. That said, I really don't believe that Shaylin did this for clout either. But instead of being grateful or gracious or at least well-mannered, Stephanie consistently attacks Shaylin, weaponizing her platform against her. Stephanie can't stand that people view her as a villain in this story, even though she is the villain. So she complains, and in doing so, inadvertently tells on herself. Worse, Stephanie uses her daughter against Shaylin, which really isn't that surprising when you think about it, because she has also weaponized DS against his mother, Desiree. That is my cat again.
And don't get me fucking started when it comes to Deshawn. That shit is getting me. I've done nothing but be there for that kid. He calls me mama. Who's he look for in the morning? Me.
And has even coached her children to call out her haters.
I'm gonna show those stupid people out there that we kids are happy with our mama. Huh. And you're not gonna take that away from us. Or us.
There appears to be no low that Stephanie Thompson won't sink to try and gain the high ground. And it's really a shame, because I'm fairly confident that Stephanie's mother, Maurice, raised her better than this. Maurice seems like a solid lady. I also think that this new $1,700 fine and lifetime ban on adopting animals in the state of Oregon may also be why Stephanie recently started floating the idea of moving out of state.
It's silly to assume that Drew and I don't sit here and have endless conversations about what we want to try to do next. We've thought about possibly getting something mobile and being the traveling type family. We've also been considering moving out of state because there's a lot of other states that have way more affordable housing than Oregon.
It's not just to escape the baby moms, but it's also so that Stephanie, the spoiled brat that she is, can have her way, which is more animals to neglect and treat like objects. Now, Stephanie is far from an accomplished writer. Her written posts are rife with errors, both grammatical and spelling. Her literacy is literally in the toilet. However, I still want to draw your attention to this next sentence, where Stephanie writes, "As much as everyone wants to act like I was just rolling in funds, I couldn't even afford to get something as basic as what's shown in this video like I really wanted to for them." What an interesting use of past tense, don't you think? I was just rolling in the funds. I couldn't even afford to get something. Does this mean that you are now rolling in the funds, Stephanie? Are you saying that you could afford something now? Like I said, it could just be that Stephanie is illiterate, because that's very possible, but I think that she accidentally told on herself here. Finally, it wasn't lost on anyone that Stephanie referred to Conscious, her black female cat, as her familiar, as in a witch's familiar. No! See, prior to her pious wannabe momfluencer shtick, Stephanie Thompson was an eclectic witch whose practice appears to have been rooted in Wicca, a religion that her mother still practices.
I have the pentagram, I have the witches, I have them on my arm. I mean, my gosh, yes, I'm a witch. And guess what? So was Stephanie in California. She thought it was the coolest thing in the world that we finally found our, reached out to our, how did she say it? Anyhow, I have been a witch for a very, very long time. Once I came out of my Christian oppression, and that doesn't make me.
You don't have to agree, but it would be no different than her coming on here and saying she's Christian now. Right? That's what's so crazy. Now she's like, I'm this, and you guys are like, oh no.
Now, it is worth noting that there are many types of witches and folk practices, including Christian practitioners. For example, there's Sister Carol Jakowski, a bona fide Catholic nun and author of Sister Carol's Book of Spells, Blessings, and Folk Magic. That said, I don't believe that this is what is happening here. Stephanie's understanding of witchcraft, folk magic, and folk tradition appears to be entry level, let alone nuanced into a sub-tradition like Christian folk magic, at least in my opinion. I also find her refound Christian identity and quoted Bible verses to be performative. Perhaps it's because I was raised Protestant, but I'm of the belief that your faith and values are core to who you are, and thereby show through your actions. So there's no need to convince people of your faith because your actions will speak louder than words alone, which is actually one of the reasons why I find Stephanie Thompson to be so inauthentic, because she spends a whole hell of a lot of time trying to convince us of what she wants us to think about her.
I'm a great freaking mom.
Instead of just doing it, instead of just living her supposed truth. That, and she gets real salty when we humans with free will and agency do not drink her Kool-Aid. Well, Flavor Aid. We aim to be historically accurate over here. It's also why the internet lauds Shaylin and hates Stephanie. Because Shaylin didn't talk a big game about rescuing Milo and then do nothing. She walked the talk. She produced results. Her actions spoke louder than her words, period. Meanwhile, all Stephanie has is her words, her paltry attempts at trying to pull the wool over our eyes as she gaslights us, while she does the opposite of what she claims to be, like throwing away her cat's litter boxes while insisting that she wasn't abandoning her cats, for example, or trying to convince us that her cats were strays, even though there's literal video and photo proof to the contrary.
I let her know, like, these are strays that we brought in.
If anything, Stephanie hates that we can see her truth, that she isn't the things that she's trying to sell us. And in return, we get tantrums, like this one. So yeah, what I've come to realize about the Resilient Jenkins is that they're not smart. Stephanie's desperate need for attention and validation, and more importantly, I think, at least for Stephanie, to be heard is her undoing. Insecure people, people with low self-esteem, low emotional intelligence and IQ, they often do not know when to shut the F up. And then they're always surprised when there are consequences to their crappy behavior, to all of the crap, the vitriol that they're constantly spewing. It's because hit dogs holler.
Go on, explain yourself.
And I think we're going to be hearing a lot more yelping from Stephanie as this situation continues to slowly circle the drain into obscurity. But who knows? I could be wrong too. Anyway, that's it for me. I want to thank everyone for liking, commenting, and subscribing with a big thank you to my mods and members. As always, you guys are rad, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!